Hello everybody, welcome to Wealth Window. Today we are going to go over how to make a budget for beginners in all financial situations. By the end of this video, you will be ready to create your very own custom budget. Be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I share the app that I personally use to do my own budgeting. Now let's get into the video. So why should you start budgeting? That is the question I want to address before we get into the specifics, because I want everyone watching this video to have their own internal reason for starting to budget, and everyone should be aware of just what it is they are getting into when they begin to budget and track their expenses. I often find that I am more successful in anything that I do when I have a sound reason behind why I am doing it. So before we go any further, take a few minutes, pause the video, and think about what you want to accomplish from budgeting. Is it that you want to invest a couple extra dollars each month, or because you want to cut out any unnecessary spending, or just because you want to gain control over your finances? No matter what your reason is for deciding to begin budgeting, this video will teach you how to accomplish your newfound goals. Now, I do want to preface this video by saying budgeting can sound like an extremely boring and tedious process, but once you get into the rhythm of budgeting month after month, and begin setting up systems for tracking expenses, it becomes almost fun to know exactly where your money is going. When you start budgeting, you will begin to feel power over your finances, and it becomes much easier to control your spending. Before I started budgeting, I would often spend more money than I had, and I ended up in a lot of tough situations because of this. To be successful with creating budgets and accomplishing the money goal you have, it will take serious discipline. I know from firsthand experience how easy it is to make impulsive purchases and then not check your bank account for days, because that would finally make the purchase real and you feel guilty. If you relate to that at all, then it may be a good idea to start budgeting. Now, this does not mean that you can never make that impulse purchase and spend money on things that make you happy. This is not a realistic or enjoyable way to live life. However, you need to budget ahead of time and know that you can afford the purchase, and it won't affect your ability to pay for rent. When you begin budgeting, guilt-free spending becomes a real reality, and you will feel far less guilty for splurging on things that make you happy. Budgeting does not take a lot of time out of your schedule. It is a short and simple process that you do once at the beginning and end of each month. Simply set aside a few hours at the beginning and end of each month to record your progress. The beginning of the month will consist of estimating your known expenses and known income and choosing one of the different ways to allocate your budget that I will discuss in the next section. The end of the month is a time for you to reflect on your progress. What went right? What went wrong? Be honest with yourself during this period of reflection and make sure every last dollar is accounted for. You can also decide to make adjustments to your budget for the next month based on how the previous month unfolded. Using a mobile app makes this process that much easier. Be sure to stick around until the end of this video where I discuss my favorite budgeting app. Now that we have discussed why everyone needs a budget and you have found your reason for starting your budgeting journey, let's go over the simple steps that you will need to go through in any type of budget. Grab a pen and paper and let's start writing out a very basic budget. The first thing you will need to do for any budget is to come up with a total amount of income you expect for that month. If you are working a job and receive the same amount of money each month from paychecks, then this part will be easy for you. If you earn a variable income each month, you can estimate your income for the month by taking the average of your income from the last 3 months. No matter which situation you fall under, take your piece of paper and write down the total income that you expect to generate this month right on the top of the paper, and we can move on to the next step. Next, you are going to make a heading called Fixed Expenses and list out all of your fixed expenses for the month. A fixed expense is something that you have to pay for each month no matter what. Some examples of fixed expenses would be rent, groceries, gym memberships, or insurance. For now, don't include any expenses from eating out. We will add those into another category to make it easier. Now, you may not know the exact value of some of your fixed expenses, but write down an educated estimate, and we can move on to the next section. Make another heading called Debts. In this section, list out all of your current debts, and also jot down their minimum payments. This will include any credit card debt, student loans, mortgages, and car loans. Make sure to make separate items for each credit card that you owe debt on. You will probably want to pay more per month than the minimum payment for each debt, but for now, just leave the minimum payment jotted down, and you can come back later and readjust once you have all of your expenses covered. Next, let's get into the fun stuff. Make another heading and title it Wants. Just because you start budgeting doesn't mean that you have to stop doing the stuff you love. What is the point of budgeting and watching your expenses if you don't spend any of your money on yourself? Sure, it would be great if you could save and invest every dime you had, but we are trying to set up something that is sustainable over the long term. If you don't set aside money each month for yourself, then you will likely burn out, and that is not what we want. In this section, list things you love doing or spending money on. Examples of this would be shopping, golfing, subscriptions such as Netflix, or just anything you genuinely enjoy doing. Once you have compiled your list, estimate how much each of these activities or services will cost per month. Now, of course, you don't want to spend more than you make, so a good limit to set on this section is 20% of your monthly income. You can allocate more or less per month, but 20% is a good reference. Okay, you get the point. Let's keep moving forward. Now add one more final section and title it Savings. At this point, you should have leftover income once you subtract everything from the above sections. This section is really up to you with what you want to do with it, but I would suggest saving money each month for emergencies or vacations. You can also go back to the debts section and increase the amount you pay each month on your loans. You can invest the remaining money. Like I said, the options are endless. You have to make your own decision on how to allocate the remaining money. Great work. Now you have all of your income and expenses allocated and in the same place. Yes, you can now begin using an app or a spreadsheet, but call me old-fashioned. I think when you are making your first budget, it is best to do so on pen and paper. I am now going to get into my favorite app for budgeting in 2025. But before I do, I want to quickly say that what we went through together in this video is how to make a bare-bones basic budget, and there are more things to be known about budgeting. However, I don't want to overload you with information in this video. If you want to see another video where I discuss more advanced budgeting topics, such as the different types of budgets that you can leverage to further optimize your budgeting skills, be sure to let me know in the comments. Now that we have made our very first budget and we understand the basic contents that make up a budget, I want to share with you guys my favorite budgeting app for 2025. The app is called Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a free app that you can use for a lot of your different financial needs, but I specifically enjoy their budget feature. With Rocket Money, you are able to sync all of your accounts into one place. Having all of your accounts easily viewable in one place is extremely helpful and makes the user experience that much more enjoyable. You can set financial goals like paying off student loans or saving for a vacation and view your progress on the way to those milestones. Overall, Rocket Money is easy to use and a great way to budget while also having all of your financial data in one place. If you are interested in using Rocket Money, I will be sure to leave a link in the description. That will wrap up this video. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss more videos related to personal finance and much more. Take care.